The impact of fuel price hike on the logistics and supply chain industry in 2022. With the pandemic, the world saw a halt in the logistics and the supply chain as the roads and airports were shut. Now, as the world is slowly rising from the devastating effects, the demand for fuel is surging due to various reasons. Western countries are looking for greener alternatives for energy. US drilling companies slowed down their production and investments in new wells dived. Overall, oil inventories have begun to dwindle quite rapidly. Most of the uncertain circumstances are due to political conditions or natural disasters in key oil-producing countries such as Libya, Kazakhstan, and Ecuador. However, recently, the unprecedented hike is due to the Russia-Ukraine war. The European Union gets 40% of its natural gas supply from Russia and 25% of its oil. Asia too is heavily reliant on Russian energy. Sanctions against Russian petrochemical products have further worsened the price increases. According to some experts, if this conflict goes on for much longer, we could see the price of an oil barrel hitting $185. What are the consequences of rising fuel prices? One of the immediate effects of the increase in fuel prices has been the worldwide rise in inflation. Consumer Price Index hit 8.6% in May in the USA. According to the US Labor Department, this is the highest it has been since 1981. One of the worst outcomes of the rise in fuel prices is the disruptions it could cause to the global food supply, and the rise in food prices as a consequence. The poorer countries and poorer economic classes will be the worst affected during such a crisis. In fact, some countries are already feeling this brunt. So how does the rise in fuel price impact on global supply chain? Fuel cost increases will make cargo movement more expensive and will result in further delays and backlogs getting worse. Maritime operators will be cost-related challenges. Increasing costs of bunker fuel have driven up carrier costs, and the rising costs are being passed on to shippers. In March 2022, bunker fuel prices were up by 22.32%. It must be noted that fuel can exceed 50% of the running costs for larger vessels. Low supply of sulfur fuel oil cargoes, along with firm bunker demand, has resulted in increasing bunker fuel costs. Global bunker prices are increasing, primarily led by a surge in Singapore, where the supply has tightened, but demand is set to improve with the reopening of Shanghai from the lockdown. Increased effort by the European Union to ban imports of Russian oil following the invasion of Ukraine is making matters worse. What should companies do to keep their supply chain steady during such difficult times? Companies will have to re-engineer their operations to be more flexible. The operations should be scalable and responsive, and it should be possible to be able to switch on and off as needed. Simulations could be run on the company's supply chain, focusing on critical elements that will help adjust business plans, perform supply chain actions, and pivot as and when required in a timely fashion. To do this, you need proper partners. Partners like HTL. HTL Logistics has been around for decades and has been able to help companies steer through such uncertain times in the past. The experience and technical expertise we possess, combined with the vast network of resources we have access to, put such in a strong place to help you steer through these difficult times, relatively unscathed.